And in most cases, it's because of a habitual thinking, a cycle of thinking, or I usually like to call them mind loops. So it's really easy this time of the year. We get busy, we're planning get togethers, Christmas activities, dealing with work, family. So our mind goes on autopilot. And when it comes to everyday items or activities
So
like
it's really
eating,
easy this time of the year. We get busy, we're planning get togethers.
sorry about that. So we when we are on autopilot with everyday activities like eating, um, that it can just happen naturally for us. So this is similar to a phenomenon that happens when you're driving somewhere and then all of a sudden there you are and you have no recollection of the trip, of driving there. So that's the same thing that can happen with us when it comes to eating during this time of the year. Our brain is amazing. It is the original computer, so it is always looking for a way to be the most efficient at what it is trying to get done. So, it likes to use mind loops or habitual thoughts to manage common activities like driving and eating. So here is your brain, and here are your mind loops going back here. I'm eating, I'm driving. And what's going on up here is all of the power of your brain is being spent on problem solving. So I like to call that conscious thought. So things that are happening right up here. How are you going to finish that report for work? How are you going to get your family organized to go see the Christmas parade this weekend? How are you going to manage holiday shopping? So all of that is up here in your conscious thought. So back here in your mind loop, it's just taking care of eating and driving and everyday activities. So why do we find ourselves in mind loops this time of year? Well, we already talked about it's usually because we're very busy this time of the year, but also it comes down to habits. And so in the past, we may have used food to feel better, to because that was just part of what we did this year, so it became a habit. And so that's part of that habitual loop is your brain is trying to go back to what it knows. And so it thinks, well, we used food last time, so that's what we're going to do again. So let's look at these three common mind loops that we find ourselves in during this time of the year. So the first one is food equals love. And that just comes from grandmothers, mothers. They just showered us with food because food was love. And that was such a huge part of our day to day life 50 years ago. I mean, think about it. Women stayed home, they planned their entire day around cooking and cleaning. Our grandmother had 8 kids on a farm, so her day was all about getting up in the morning, cooking breakfast so that they could go work on the farm, then having lunch ready so everybody could eat lunch to go work back on the farm, and then at the end of the day, feeding everyone after they came in from a hard day's work. So that was how women really contributed to the family, was through food. And we've really carried that emotion with us, even though our roles have changed over these past 50 years. So being aware that food is not love is one of the first steps we take to trying to get out of that mind loop. Love is love. And you want to try to switch to love yourself by nourishing your body with the right foods so you can lift yourself up and your loved ones up. Now, don't worry about solutions just yet. We're going to get to that more in just a minute. So the second mind loop that we commonly see is food equals comfort. So this mind loop is kind of tricky. It stems from food equals love, but it also comes from our instinct to find comfort when we're not feeling well. And so if you just go back and think about some of the things that happened to you when you got a shot as a kid, you probably got a sucker from the doctor. If you hurt yourself on the playground, your parents may have taken you out for ice cream. And After you broke up with your first boyfriend, your best friend may have given you chocolate to make you feel better. And so these are all examples of how food can cause us to avoid negative feelings and thoughts that we may be having, because eating literally distracts us from those negative thoughts. Now, our habitual brain, the one that does the mind loops, it doesn't really know the difference between physical pain and emotional or emotional pain. So to it, comfort and food, it doesn't matter. So you might, if you hurt yourself, you may want a piece of chocolate, and if someone hurts your feelings, you may want a piece of chocolate. It's all the same to your brain. So it's interesting because eating does really distract us from feeling unwanted emotions. And this all stems from the instinct part, as our brain is designed to trigger the reward system, because we'd much rather feel positive or feel better than feel negative. The interesting thing about this is that this solution may work temporarily, but our brain is programmed, because it's a computer, to not move forward until these problems are solved. So if you have a recurring thought or emotion, your brain's going to stay stuck in that situation until it can find a resolution. Okay, so our third mind loop is food equals control. So this typically starts with us when we're younger. As kids or teenagers, we have so little control over anything in our life, and we figure out pretty quickly that we control what we eat. So the way that we may control our food at a young age is being a picky eater, maybe not eating, or it could be overeating. So usually this is all part of us trying to prove to the people around us that we have some element of control in our life. So overcoming this mind loop kind of begins with changing our perspective on what control is. So we can gain control through understanding the science of food. So if you understand how food connects to your body and how that affects your mind, that's usually a really good first step in trying to figure out the connection between food and control in your life. So just remember this. This is something that I use sometimes with clients, is you're in control of your health. Each day you get to decide how you feel through the decisions you make about what you put in your body. All right, so let's talk about solutions. So when it comes to solutions, I'm going to give you a big overview first, and then we're going to break it down, because you may be like, whoa, I don't really understand where this is going, but hang with me because we're going to kind of break it down. All right, so what we want to do, what our solution to try to get out of these mind loops is, we want to just become conscious of our thoughts so that we can feel on purpose. So if you begin to feel a negative emotion, rather than reaching for food when you are not hungry, you want to try to feel that emotion from beginning to end. And so what you're doing is you're making a connection by working backwards in your brain. So normally what I do with clients is I have them start with, okay, I want to eat, and then we're going to, and I want to eat because I'm not hungry. I want to make that clear. So once we establish that they're wanting to eat because they're not hungry, we start working backwards. I want to eat because I feel blank. I feel blank because I was thinking about blank. Why does thinking about blank trigger these feelings and cause me to want to eat? So when we ask our mind or ask ourselves these questions, that is presenting a problem to your brain, the computer, and it puts it to work. And your brain will begin to start thinking of answers to these questions. Okay, so let's break it down and let's look at this in action. So if you're interested in doing this mind work and start getting out of these mind loops, I've got some steps, basically 3 steps to help you put this into practice. And it's going to feel weird. It's strange. First of all, you don't really sit around and go, okay, self, why do I feel like this? So that's kind of weird in the first place. And then the second thing is that you're not used to really asking yourself questions like this. So my suggestion is if you're doing this, the first few times, go ahead and write it down. And the reason we write it down is when you write something down, it kind of solidifies it in your mind. So it's just a good practice. Give it a shot, see what happens, and then let me know. Okay, so step 1, you catch yourself wanting to eat and you're not hungry. All right, so step 2, you want to write down these 3 questions. I want to eat right now because I feel an emotion. I feel this emotion because I was thinking about a circumstance. Why does thinking about this circumstance make me feel that emotion? So once you write those questions down, that will help your brain get to work. And then the follow-up question is this why I want to eat? And if your brain says yes, you can continue on from there. And if your brain says no, then ask yourself, well, why do I want to eat? And maybe it is because you're hungry. So if you are hungry, listen to your body, listen to your mind, and go ahead and make sure you eat something. But when you're not hungry, you can ask these questions. Okay, so step 3 is you're going to answer these questions. So I'm going to use an example with you, and I'm going to use a personal example. So this is an actual example. I said that, but this is actually a realization I made using this approach when I first started doing this. So the first question, so I found myself wanting to eat. Actually, it was after I came back from a trip. I'd been out, I'd been doing this big training, and I came in the door and I just wanted to stuff anything I could find in my face. And so I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm not hungry, I want to eat, so I'm going to ask myself these questions. So, first question is, I want to eat right now because I feel, and for me, I felt anxious and nervous. Okay, so I feel anxious and nervous. So why does so I feel anxious and nervous because I was thinking about the training that I'd just done for 25 people. Okay, so why does thinking about the training make me feel anxious and nervous? Because I felt like these people were judging me. So is this why I wanted to eat? Yes. So the next question I had was, well, why does others judging me make me feel anxious and nervous? And so then I set my mind to work on that problem and try to figure that out. And so this is where the work can begin with our Cornerstone 5 coaching clients. So from there, we can really dig in and start looking at the awareness. You can really begin to make changes in the world around you and the way you think about food and eating once you begin to develop that awareness. So we work with our clients to help them find keys to their health and their happiness by being aware of the thoughts that they're having. So let me check and make sure. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, I would definitely want to make sure that I get those questions answered before we jump off today. Okay.
If you do, I would definitely want to make sure that I get.
Okay. So let me jump back over here. I'm going to keep an eye over here on the comments. So if you do have any questions, just keep them coming. I'm going to make sure that I get all of those addressed. Okay, so I hope this does give you some great insight, especially those of you who are doing the 30-day challenge with us. And this is something that I practice pretty commonly when we're doing the challenge, but just really, I've done it enough now. I practice this all the time, and I really try to help our clients practice this very regularly. So if you are interested in doing the challenge with us, please let us know. And you can do that by commenting C5C, Eat Like Me. And we're going to send you a free meal plan. And I just want to say, all of you who are watching, who have jumped out there, jumped in this, and done this challenge with us, it has just been so awesome supporting you through this journey. Some of you have posted pictures of your food online, and that's awesome. Some of you have private messaged us and told us how you're doing, and it has just been so awesome and amazing to see you go on this journey with us. So continue to add your meals, your pictures, your insights. If you have any, aha moments, post those on our Facebook page or post them in a private message if you don't want to share it with the world, because we really want to celebrate these things with you. If you are interested in jumping in our 30-day challenge, it's not too late. We have a free meal plan that can help you get started. So, like I said, make sure that you comment below. Sorry, I'm looking at the comments, trying to tell you to comment. So comment C5C, Eat Like Me, and we're going to send you a free meal plan that's going to help you get started. And then there's more information about more support if that's something you need, because we want to help you find success in this goal. So I also want to throw out one other tool. Sorry, Laura, I'm throwing this out there. I know that we didn't talk about it, but we just love helping and supporting you guys. So I want to encourage you to find an accountability partner if you're interested in doing this mind work. And if you've got somebody in your life that you can have these discussions with, that's awesome. But if you don't, or if you would rather talk to us, let our community be your accountability partner. So just contact us, let us know what's going on, what you're thinking. And we want to help you stay on track. And this is the kind of support that Laura and I offer through the membership programs at Cornerstone 5 Coaching. Remember, we are only powerful when we empower one another. So thanks so much, everybody. I'm going to check and make sure we don't have any questions, but we will see you next week.